Many people have been left shocked at the deaths of 4 pupils and more than 20 seriously injured at Hoërskool Driehoek in Vanderbijlpark after a walkway collapsed. This has left many pupils and parents traumatized by the incident. So what is the way forward with regards not only for the safety but to also address the trauma? In studio with us we've got Steve Mabona, who is the spokesperson for the Gauteng Education Department, who's going to help unpack this devastating story. So Steve, thank you very much for coming in. It's good to have you in studio.
Good morning.
We see now, first thing Saturday morning, we get a message to say that a 4th learner has now passed away. Talk to us a little bit more about the conditions of the remaining students. How are they doing?
Look, you will understand the impact of that, pathway, collapsing on learners. It's quite a thick, slab, which anything is possible. But the serious injuries that those learners actually experienced, hence you could see that some of them were airlifted, utilizing your choppers and all that. It was quite a sad, environment to be at, and those that witnessed the incident really need serious counseling. Yeah. Hence we felt that today we will be focusing on counseling. There's a permanent trauma center that we have established at the school, though not everyone will be coming at the school, because in our interaction with the school and the principal and the SGP was that some of the learners can be directed to other venues that have been identified, things like churches, where they will be conducting the trauma counseling, because that's our focal point. Because remember, some of those learners were brave enough to participate in the rescue mission, because they were trying to lift the slab. It was quite a daunting task to do. So you really need to make sure that you take them through the process of counseling, because they really need that, because those pictures will take time to disappear. So hence the focal point should be that, than rushing into a curriculum.
How many children were actually trapped under that concrete base? Because as far as we all understand, and which I think you've explained quite well, is that it was that concrete bridge which subsequently collapsed. There were children on top of the bridge walking across it and children underneath it. So the children underneath, any idea how many of the children were actually trapped underneath, and those deceased, were they underneath that bridge?
Definitely. All the deceased were underneath, and those that survived, it's gory pictures that we've seen.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to even imagine what you have seen.
Yeah, so, and those that were on top, hence there was a lot of them that had serious injuries that were inflicted on them. And we are just hopeful that they are receiving, necessary medical attention. The one that passed on Saturday very late, the 4th one, he was actually worrisome when we look at the pictures and the condition that he was in. And he went to theater, in and out of theater for quite several occasions, trying to save him and all that. And unfortunately, it could not happen that way. Yeah. So most of them, we are hopeful that they will come back and join the other learners.
Are you able to tell us in terms of which kids are in a critical condition? How many are still in a critical condition? Are they still in ICU? Do you have those details on you or not? Or not?
All those children are in ICU.
They're still in ICU?
All of them.
Are we talking 19 children?
All of them, they're in ICU.
Okay.
There's only one that was admitted on Saturday late because of back pains. We then suggested that, look, let the hospital admit, make sure that they do necessary tests and make sure that that child is saved as well. So all of them, they're in ICU.
It's a tragic situation, and my heart goes out to the parents and to those learners that have had to witness it and are going through all of this. I think the prayers of South Africa are with them. Investigations into the incident, when is that going to begin? Has it already begun in terms of where the fault lies? I know it's something you don't necessarily want to have to look into, but it's got to be done.
Yeah, and the positive thing is that when you interact with the families of the deceased and those that they have injured or injuries. No one actually is blaming the school or anyone. All of them, they said, look, it's a God's will and it's something that you could not, foresee. I mean, when you look at with your naked eyes, when you look at the structure, and you could not tell that this will be happening. But it's from a structural engineer's eye, probably there are things that you can tell. But the investigation has already commenced. The Department of Labor has taken over the site. They actually yesterday conducted their preliminary, investigation, that of making sure that at least they give us permission or an exemption to utilize part of the school, because it's not all areas that are affected. So once they do that, we'll be in a position to say, let's then plan for curriculum, let's plan for the way forward. But there are areas that they will declare that they are probably safe, that we can utilize, so that we can then have a way forward. If we were to, erect some temporary structures, that's a plan that we are actually looking forward to, so that we then proceed with curriculum. But the focal point now for us is trauma counseling.
Absolutely, and one can understand that it's only a few days after the incident. However, this does raise a lot of alarm bells, and I think a lot of schools need to look into this. Just remind us, how old is this school? 46?
The school is 45 years
45 years old. I mean, if you look at some of the schools and the infrastructure, I mean, that's the age of a lot of schools in this country. What are the lessons to be learned? This could have happened anywhere at any time, and there's nothing special about Driehoek that had happened there. It could have been anywhere else. What is this now going to teach the department in terms of advising schools going forward with infrastructure?
Look, the Department of Labor actually have indicated that they are interested now in working with us, go through all our schools, just to go and do their structural assessments. And we said that we welcome that invitation, and we'll be working with them. But as the department as well, we have actually launched our own investigation, utilizing our resources to make sure that our structural engineers, go into the school now and go into other schools just to check on how are we doing. You'll remember that the issue of buildings, it has been an issue, on our offices, district offices, and since that Lisbon incident, Lisbon Bank building incident. So we are looking at that, and just to make sure that we don't find ourselves in the same situation. But the assessments will be conducted in all our facilities.
Okay. I don't want to, but I need to bring up the whole radicalized incident that took place of BLF. Basically, the spokesperson, Lindsay Mastor, tweeting that the deaths should be celebrated. Something like that is appalling. It doesn't matter who lost their lives. Lives have been lost of innocent children. But the DA, I think the Freedom Front Plus, I'm not too sure, as well, joining in a chorus of voices against this and taking it to the Human Rights Commission. Let's get the department's stance on these comments from the BLF.
Quite unfortunate racial slur, attributes. It's not only that one. I mean, before we saw, in the social media, some people, saying nasty things. Look, it's not necessary. I mean, these are our children. Hence, we normally push for equal education, we push for quality of our education and accessibility. For us, we want all children to access any school anywhere. So we cannot find ourselves fighting, on race basis, whether people are black, people are, are white. It's a drawback when you look at it, because we are in a process of growing the country. I mean, we are focusing on that, making sure that South Africa belongs to everyone who's here. So you can't be celebrating while we are in a mourning period. We are mourning as the department, as the education sector. Everyone, the country actually should be mourning, because this is a tragedy that cannot be celebrated. How do you celebrate? These are human, these are family members, there's families that are distraught, that are affected by this. We need to support them. Hence, we have sent our team to visit all these families. They started on Saturday, and yesterday when we heard about this fourth child who passed away, Our team went to the family just to convey our deepest, condolences and, assure them that we will be there for them, we'll support them. So it's quite unfortunate, what has been attributed towards.
Will you be taking action against them in any way?
Look, we'll have to consult. There are, those, organizations that they've raised their hand that they will, do action. But as the department, we need to consult. There's legal teams that will advise us on how we're going to be moving forward. So we can't announce now. We should be in a position to say, this is what we're going to be doing as the department.
In terms of the school reopening, I know it's closed right now, trauma counselling, investigations are taking place, students are distraught, I imagine, to go learn. But the bottom line is this is a high school, there are matriculants there. Any time that has been given to when the school will be reopened?
Look, today is quite important for us. We're going to be assessing after today because we have invited all learners to come. Though not all of them will be coming to the school because of the condition of the school, they will be attended to. Then there's constant communication with the parents through the SGB and the principal. There's a way of communication because they have all the contacts of the parents. So that they are doing it on an everyday basis. Today, after our meeting, we are going back there as well. We should be in a position to update on what is the latest developments. Talking about memorial services, funeral, we are, constantly, in liaison with the families. So we'll be working very closely with them on that one.
Okay, Steve, thank you very, very much for talking to us here on the program. Also, as you mentioned, investigations are being done by the Department of Labour. Timeline on that. How long would an investigation take to see the cause of this? Can you give us an idea?
Look, we are not aware of the timeline, but we should be in a position to update at the later stage.
All right, thank you. Steve Mabona, of course, is the spokesperson for the Gauteng Education Department, giving us an update on the tragedy at Hoërskool Driehoek that happened on Friday. 4 children have lost their lives. There are still 19 children in ICU fighting to survive. We take a break.
We are outside Hoërskool Driehhoek, where members